If you're in the market for a performance, a coupe styling sedan, your options are going to be kind of limited to like Toyota Camry, Nissan Altima, maybe a Mazda 6, or even a Honda Accord. But what Hyundai has done is given us the inline. Today, Omar from Brandon Hyundai has given us the 2022 Hyundai Sonata inline in your Hampton Gray. This is the sexier, blacked out appearance package. The powerful turbocharged engine that's underneath the hood, luxury appointed interior with a modern feel, the latest tech, safety, the sexy coupe design brings that competition to Mazda, Toyota, Honda, Nissan. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and we're gonna go over all the specs and details starting now. To enter 2020 with a more aggressive design. That inline is going to add to the black mesh inserts on the grille, the race-inspired inline badging, lower with still 5.3 inches of ground clearance, wider at 73.2 inches. It's going to look meaner in the fascia, LED headlamps, daytime runnings, and I like that chrome that goes over that fender area where it just pretty much separates the fenders from the hood, so it still gives a luxury but yet a performance driven styling. On the lower area, you're going to have larger air ducts, a more sporty styling than Honda and Mazda, and I have to throw in Nissan as well. I feel that the whole appearance of this front fascia looks super aggressive, especially with that air curtain that's functional, and even on the lower spoiler, in the fact that you can still go over any speed bumps without any issues with that turbocharged engine. That's insane, getting the performance styling and the drive all mixed in. Sporty flared out fenders encasing these 19-inch inline alloy wheels. Standard will be a 16-inch wheel, that's on the SE. 17 will be on the SEL, and the limited will be an 18-inch. 13.6 inches is the disc in the front, 12.8 is the rear McPherson strut front suspension, independent multi-link rear suspension. The surroundings of everything on the side is just going to scream more performance, starting with that inline badging. You got the chrome that goes across the fenders, outlining all the window treatment with the black glossy interior and on the side view mirror caps, and they put a touch of chrome over the door handles, so it really does emphasize a little bit of luxury. Again, sport flaring on the lower door trim. You're going to get the glossy black as well. If you are comparing this to any of the competitors, Toyota, Honda, Mazda, Nissan, all four corners, which you'll see in a second, is going to be more sport derived in this, more functional vents, and more of a practical yet fun vehicle on an everyday drive. The length at 192.9 inches, wheelbase at 111.8 inches. All of those aerodynamic lines are going to flare right into the rear. The inline rear spoiler takes over the rear with your LED tail lamps that are right underneath it. The lower trim of the bumper is in the glossy black. You're going to get your rear diffuser, your dual twin exhaust outlets, which really set a nice presence for this inline. And comparing it even to the Camry TRD, the rear of this one, it's a little bit more settled. I would say the TRD is going to be a little bit more aggressive. However, this top part really sets off for the inline. When we go into the cargo, you're going to receive 16 cubic feet of storage. There's a spare tire underneath the floor. You could probably still fit some storage underneath there. The rear bench split folds at a 60-40 split, but you know, turbo engine with that performance. Let's hear that exhaust note. The inline just really gives those aesthetics, and they back that performance with a 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder Smart Stream engine producing 290 horsepower at 311 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to an 8-speed wet dual-clutch automatic transmission, achieving 23 to 33 mpgs. As 0 to 60 beats everybody at 5.4 seconds, quarter mile at 13.7 seconds. So comparing it to the Mazda 6, comparing it to Nissan Altima, Toyota Camry, the TRD, Honda Accord 2.0 Turbo, this is going to be faster, a top speed at 150 miles per hour. All of the styling cues just makes me want to get inside and give this a little bit of performance on the road and see how it is. Let me know in the comments what you think about the 2022 Hyundai Sonata inline as we go into the interior, go over the tech, and take this for our test run. Entering inside the Hyundai Sonata inline, you're going to receive 40 inches of headroom, 46.1 inches of legroom. It's a black on black in sport heated front seats with microfiber inserts in badging. You got the piping and contrast stitching, both in red. I like the pattern, very unique. 12-way power adjustment for the driver. Unfortunately, it's only 6-way manual adjustment for the passenger. That is something that I wish they would entertain fixing because they're giving you so much on the driver's side. But starting off, a modern interior, and that's what the dash is going to scream. You're going to get that glossy chrome inserts, and it's going to be around all of your air vents, and it's going to surround pretty much 2/3 of the dash, if not almost all of it, because even on the driver's side, you have a little touch. In the center, they have thrown in that enlarged 10.25 touchscreen infotainment with navigation. So we have the pinch, we have the swipe, click that home button so you can see all the apps in which we have, swipe over. You have your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, Bluetooth connectivity, AM, FM, HD radio. Switching it into reverse, you do have full trajectory. You can change the camera so you could have like a tow line if you want. You can go into your settings there and you can change the display as well. And another cool thing is you can slide over onto the side, which it's all right, I guess, but you can look at your navigation while you're reversing. So safety, they are taking care of you there. You got your leather wrapped steering wheel. This is inline spec, multi-function paddle shifters, and the gauge cluster is a digital 12.3 color LED cluster. Now you can do customized settings. You can see your gauges, your navigation, and whatnot. I do like the blend that we're getting as well. Only thing is, because this is out of the Genesis, the steering wheel, I wish the design would be just a little bit different to kind of give a little bit of a contrast to the vehicle. But you know, as I've been driving it and reviewing it, it does fit the way it looks in the interior. Panoramic sunroof, that's what you're getting right here as well. So the styling cues feels very sporty. It's not necessarily driver focused, even though you do have a little area here that kind of cuts off the passenger. Cup holders, 16.9 ounce water bottle, no problem. I'd say a 20 ounce. You can fit a small cell phone here as well, or your key fob. You got your wireless charging pad, 12 volt, 2 USB ports, and I do like that in badging that's around the gloss and your push buttons to put it in gauge. You have your driver mode select, open up inside here to some more storage, and you know, it's going to be kind of soft for a sport vehicle. It's not too bad at all. Door panel, going to start off with harder materials in the Bose tweeter in the top. You got the silver that's going to be around your grab handle. One touch up and down for all the windows. Dual pane in the front. Got that contrast stitching. The only thing that I dislike is the grab handle area, because like when you're trying to close, I've had it a couple times where it doesn't seem to be fit in the right area if you're 6'3". If you're shorter, it might be easy. Storage, you could fit maybe 2 16.9 ounce water bottles. So again, a sporty / coupe styling sedan. It's kind of efficient for what you need, and it gives you that sport ride. Let's check out the back seats. For the back seats, I'm at 37.4 inches of headroom, 34.8 inches of legroom. I fit relatively fine without too many issues. The floor is not completely flat. You do have one USB port, your center air vents, and storage behind the passenger seat. Elbows are going to be a lot more soft in the center with your cup holder that can fit a 16.9 ounce water bottle. I'd say a 20 ounce max. As for the door panel, it's going to be again more firm on the top, and even on the door handle area is going to be more sport derived. But they do keep that sporty styling with the contrast stitching and that chrome that's going to be around the door handle. The grab handle again is kind of more of a fun little thing when you're 6'3", you have to kind of reach back. However, storage, you could fit maybe one 16.9-ounce water bottle. I do wish that the pano roof went back just maybe a little bit more, so that way it would be a little bit more open. But as for the way you feel, door panels are raised up higher so you sit down, so it does feel sleek and sporty in the rear. Let's see how I look in the center. Sitting into the center, headroom is going to be a bit of an issue for someone that's 6'3". Legroom, not too much of a problem. I can fit. I am blocking the only USB port and the central air vents, and because the seats are not necessarily so wide, it's going to be a little bit tight for shoulder and butt space for 3 people my size to fit in the back. But with this microfiber inserts in the interior, it really does hug you pretty good, and it feels pretty cool even on a hot day. So fitting 2 back here is going to be a lot more relaxed because you can feel the air vents and you can feel the air circulate all over the cabin. Taking the 2022 Hyundai Sonata inline out for our test run, the best part about this vehicle to start off with is the functionalities that you get with the driver's seat. I do wish though that they implemented at least a 8-way power adjustment for the passenger, but it is awesome to have that. They have the bolstering, they have the lumbar support. I mean, you can really configure this vehicle and make it as sporty derived as you want, and that is super cool because you're in a price tag under $40,000. So at the end of the day, when you're getting a vehicle at this spec with this price point, you're looking to get a little bit of your feet wet, but they do a good job pretty much getting the full feet wet. As for visibility, because we do sit a little lower, you actually are not riding on the ground either. So it's going to be a more comfort and composed ride, even on a short journey, but it's going to be obviously more comfortable on a long journey. Interesting thing is we are doing a review against the Toyota Camry, and I'm right next to them because they're everywhere. As for driving it with a little bit underneath the gas, anything around 2.5 to 3 RPMs, that turbo is ready to kick in. 290 horsepower, so you do have a lot of power underneath there. 311 pound-feet of torque. I do wish that they matched the horsepower. Quick turn radius, so you can see, and you just kind of do a wrap around, no problem. And that's the thing I like about this particular trim. You have that performance, and it's still luxurious inside that you could take your date out, you can do whatever you need to do. Ready to rock and roll, and that's exactly what you need, is a vehicle that can get in there with performance, and you can do it on a daily driver. So it is nice that you can do these attributes and keep the car planted on the ground. Rear wheel drive cars are a little bit wheel happy sometimes, but for the most part, the car drives really comfort. As for the sound dampening inside the interior, it's gonna be a little bit more wind noise through the windscreen and on the wheel well area. These are upgraded wheels, so you're going to expect that. Unfortunately, there's not really much that you can do. But as you're driving on a higher speed, it stays comfortable. You just kind of glide over everything. So that is a nice thing, because when you're getting performance vehicles, typically they're so low to the ground that you feel every single bump. The suspension does hold itself relatively well. As for the blind spots, you have blind spot sensoring, so you don't have to worry too much with that, but all the windows are pretty open as well. If I give it a little go here, look at that. The car is just ready to rock and roll. I mean, the camera itself moved. It just has so much torque in that rear wheel that it's hard to keep the car planted when you're driving it aggressive. So that is something to take in consideration, because usually when you're driving performance vehicles, you would hope that it was a little bit heavier on the curb weight, but this thing just takes off, and it's really aggressive. Even though it's only 311 pound-feet of torque, it feels a lot more than that. Stopping in the middle of the road, we're gonna give her some gas, and don't go too much into it, because if you do, it gets wheel happy, as you saw. But when you hit about 2-3 RPM, it is pretty fine. Putting it into a normal driving mode is going to change that gauge cluster, which I do like that. And you can see the PSI for your turbo boost, which is also cool, because you know when the vehicle is ready to rock and roll. When you put it into normal, you don't really hear any throaty exhaust note. However, you don't really hear it too much anyways, unless you're really going on to it. Now we have a full stop point. In normal mode, it's going to be more composed, and it's not going to squeal the tires. So I do like the fact that you can actually push the throttle in normal. When you put it into Sport Plus, it does get a little tire happy. Now, there is 3 things I like and 3 things that I dislike. Is anything more than that, I'd be buying this vehicle. The 3 things that I like, obviously, you know, it's the performance and the styling cues. Such a nice blend and mixture all in one, and you got luxury amenities in the interior because of the trim level we're in. The second thing that I like about the vehicle is how quick this is compared to the competition. In some aspects, it's only a couple of tenths or maybe 4/10 of a second faster. However, for the price point you're getting in the low 5 seconds, that is awesome. The last thing that I like about it is the fact that you can easily fit 3 adults in the back my size and 2 in the front my size without too much of compromising. Now you're going to be lacking in some charging ports, but the comfort in the seat is great. You have 12-way power adjustments. That's insane for the price tag that we're at. 3 things that I dislike about the vehicle is the navigation, the infotainment screen where it's positioned. It reflects a lot of sunlight, and in some cases it can be dull because it's so bright on the exterior. The second thing that I dislike, the charging ports in the back, you only have 1. The last thing that I dislike about the vehicle is the handles to get in. When you're closing the door, I've had a few times, they just don't really have a grab handle. It's kind of just like an area that you rest your arm with an opening. That's fine, and I like the luxury twist. However, it's gonna get something you're gonna have to get used to. But I mean, if you need to stop on the dime, you can do so, as you can see, without any issues. If you need to give it a little gas, you can also do so. You're gonna keep up with the traffic. Vehicle is going to move you forward quickly with a nice luxury feel. The steering's a bit artificial. It doesn't feel long either, which is a great thing because this is a sedan and you don't necessarily feel like there's 4 doors in it. And the width, even though it's a little wide, it's not overly wide that I have to feel any caution or anything like that. I like to thank Omar here at Brandon Hyundai for giving us this 2022 Hyundai Sonata in line for our car review. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Hawkeye community. If not, click that subscribe button, check out the details, the merchandise, and everything we do here at Hawkeye Rides.